Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
What's going on, good people? You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown, and this is Thrive Thursday. Yes, we are here in Thursday. And today we're correcting something that has been quietly holding people back. How you see serving. Because the truth is, most people don't have a work problem, they have a mindset problem. You don't just avoid work, you avoid what feels like serving. The small task, the unseen responsibilities, the roles that don't come with recognition, and you call it being overlooked, being underused, being stuck. But what if you've been labeling it wrong this whole time? What if what you've been calling punishment is actually preparation? Let's look at Luke 16:10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. Today, we're going to tear down the lie and rebuild your perspective, because if you don't understand serving, you will resist the very thing that's building you. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Join us on this heavenly journey, one song at a time, Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and it is Thrive Thursday. Today, we are talking about serving is preparation, not punishment. You misread serving. You don't hate serving. You hate what you think serving means. You think serving means you're not ready, you're behind, you're being overlooked. So instead of embracing it, you resist it. But serving was never meant to define your level. It was designed to develop your capacity. And again, let's look at Luke 16:10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. Serving is not where you get stuck, it's where you get built. And if you keep misreading serving, you will keep rejecting the very thing that's preparing you for what you've been praying for, because what feels small in your hands right now, is actually shaping you in how you will handle something greater later. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
You're riding the waves of faith and grace on Wave Radio.
It is Thrive Thursday here on Afternoon Praise, and you're tuned in to Wave Radio. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown, and we are talking about serving is preparation, not punishment. Let's talk about serving exposes your ego. Yeah, everybody got egos. Everybody. See, serving doesn't lower you, it reveals you. Because the moment something small is placed in your hands, you start pushing back. That's not my role. I should be doing more. I'm past this. That's not leadership, people. That's ego. Serving exposes whether you're submitted to the process or attached to the image of yourself. And if you can't serve, you can't be trusted to lead. Because leadership is not proven by what you are giving, it's proven by how you handle what others overlook. And ego will always reject what humility is required to master. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and we are talking about serving is preparation, not punishment. Serving is the training ground. Serving is not random work. It is structured preparation. Every small task is training you to pay attention, stay disciplined, follow through, execute with consistency. You don't build capacity in big opportunities. You build it in consistent service. So when you avoid serving, you're not avoiding work. You are avoiding development. And the danger is this: if you don't get trained in serving, you will step into something bigger without the internal structure to handle it. And I just want to shout out my pastor, my spiritual father, Bishop Brian J. Pierce. I watched him serve. He leads a mega church, 3 locations, one church in 3 locations. But I watch him serve other bishops when he goes to conference and, when he's with Full Gospel. I want to give a shout out to Bishop Catchings. He is our executive pastor, and he serves. Man, to watch him serve, my spiritual father, Brian J. Pierce, he serves like he just got on the job. He serves like he is hungry because he understands what serving means. I've seen some great people in some great positions not attached to their ego, but serve in a capacity where they're needed. And I'm telling you, that's where I am. I just want to serve. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
This is Thrive Thursday. I hope you're out there serving with a good heart, with a clear mind, serving because you love to serve, not because you're forced to, but because you get to. Why serving feels like punishment? Let's be honest, y'all. Let's be honest. Serving doesn't feel rewarding. No spotlight, no applause, no recognition. That's why you start calling it punishment. But it only feels like punishment because you don't understand what it's producing. Serving stretches your patience. Serving builds your endurance. Serving removes entitlement. So instead of embracing it, you resist it. Not because it's wrong, but because it's uncomfortable. And most people walk away from discomfort, not realizing that discomfort is the signal that growth is happening. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and this is Thrive Thursday. Serving builds capacity. Every time you serve, you are increasing your ability to handle more. Not mentally, practically. Serving forces you to show up consistently, execute under pressure, handle responsibility without recognition. Stay sharp in what feels small. That's capacity. And if you skip serving, you skip capacity, because capacity is not declared. It is developed through repetition and responsibility. And what you refuse to carry, you won't be able to carry later. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. How you doing on this Thursday? This great Thursday, a Thursday that God has blessed you to be alive. Man, I love the grace of God. Do you love the grace of God? Make some noise. If you're in your car, if you're at your office desk, I just want you to make some noise. Say hallelujah. Thank you for the grace. Thank you for life. Man, I love God. Let's talk about serving protects you. You want the moment, right? But serving is what protects you in the moment. Because when you served, you've already been corrected, learned systems, built discipline, developed consistency. So when pressure hits, you don't panic, you perform. But if you avoid serving, you will be exposed when it matters most. Because serving gives you experience without the pressure of the spotlight. So when the spotlight comes, you're not learning, you're executing. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Bringing the sounds of heaven 24/7, Wave Radio.
If you got a shout out or request, hit me up and I got you. Let's talk about building trust. Trust is the key thing to people so that people will want to work with you. They got to trust you to work with you. And guess what? Serving builds trust. Nobody gives you more until you prove yourself with less. Serving is how trust is built, not through what you say, through what you consistently do. When you serve well, people rely on you. Opportunities open to you. Responsibilities increases. But when you resist serving, you delay trust. And without trust, there is no elevation, because people don't want to promote potential. They promote reliability, and reliability is proven in service. Don't neglect serving, people. Don't neglect it. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're tuned into the Afternoon Praise, and we are talking about serving is preparation, not punishment. See, serving is stewardship. Serving is not just work, it is stewardship. It is how you handle what's already in your hands. And again, I'm going to throw this out here again. Luke 16:10. I know I've been on that scripture throughout the whole show. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. If you mishandle small responsibility, you are showing you can't handle more. So God doesn't increase based on desire. He increases based on stewardship. And stewardship is tested in what feels small, not what feels significant. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
Thank you for tuning in on this good Thursday. We one day removed from the weekend. Yes. Are you excited? I am, because Saturday we are doing Serve the City in Greensboro at our main location. You know, all churches, we got 3 campuses. We are one church at 3 locations. All locations are coming together to serve the community. And I am excited we are doing that Saturday. And that's what we are talking about today. Serving is not punishment, it's preparation. Serving shapes your brand. Let's bring this into your life and business. Your brand is not built in big moments. It's built in how you serve consistently, how you respond, how you execute, and how you handle responsibility when nobody is watching. People don't trust your vision. They trust your consistency. And consistency is built through serving. And if you're inconsistent in serving, your brand will be inconsistent in growth. Because what people experience repeatedly becomes your reputation. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Serving teaches you the system. Everything has a system. Everything from business, from church, from school, from relationships to friendships, everything have systems. And you can't just walk into something and think, hey, I'm God's gift. I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, I'm gonna come in here and my talent is gonna change. No, your talent can't change something you don't understand what's going on. Your talent might disrupt it. So serving teaches you the system. You don't skip serving, because serving teaches you how things actually work. It shows you the details, the flow, the pressure points, the responsibilities behind the scenes. If you never serve, you never understand what you're leading. And when you don't understand it, you mismanage it. Serving is not wasting your time. It is teaching you the system. And when you understand the system, you can move with confidence instead of confusion. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're tuned in to the Afternoon Praise. How many of you all out there are tired of being mislabeled? We all are being mislabeled. And I know you're probably tired of it, but it's cool. It's all right. It's our behavior and it's the things we do that we have to change the perception of people, because we're being mislabeled because of perception. But let's stop mislabeling process. Y'all knew I was going somewhere with that. You've been calling it delay, been being overlooked, being stuck. But it's none of those things. It's preparation. Serving is not holding you back. It's building you forward. And if you keep mislabeling it, you will keep resisting it. And if you resist serving, you resist development. And what you resist today, You will regret tomorrow when the opportunity comes and you are not ready. Stop mislabeling process. Stop mislabeling serving. Serving is not punishment, it's preparation. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. We're talking about serving. We're talking about serving as preparation, not punishment. I'm using this show to change your mindset, how you look at serving. We got to serve with a great heart. We got to serve like we love God. We serve unto God, not unto men. See, serving is identity work. This is where it shifts. When you stop seeing serving as what you're doing and start seeing it as who you're becoming, because leaders don't wait for positions to serve. They serve at every level. If your identity is strong, you don't need a title to operate. You bring discipline into every assignment. You bring excellence into every task. That's preparation in motion. And when your identity is aligned, serving is no longer frustrating. It becomes intentional. Let me say that again. And when your identity is aligned, serving is no longer frustrating. It becomes intentional. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
If you just tuned in, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise here on Wave Radio. Of course, you know who I am. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown. But if you miss any of this show, you can go to Wave Radio and you can listen to the show entirely, minus the music. But let's talk about your resisting preparation. You're resisting preparation. Let's apply a little pressure. Let me apply some pressure. Some of you are frustrated, but the truth is you're resisting serving. You want more, but you haven't mastered what's in your hands. You want elevation, but you reject the process that builds it. That's dangerous because what you avoid in serving, you will face later under pressure. And pressure doesn't create problems, it reveals what was never developed. Stop resisting preparation. Stop resisting serving. Serving is not punishment, it's preparation. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Hey, again, if you got a shout out, hit me up on my Instagram. That's the Business Point Guard, Demetrius L. Brown. And I will make sure I get your shout out on the radio the following day. Yes, I will get it out. If you got a request, hit me up. I got you. We will make sure we get your request on, because I know you like good music, because I like good music too. But we're talking about serving is preparation, not punishment. And serving determines sustainability. Getting the opportunity is one thing. Sustaining it is another. And serving is what prepares you to sustain. Because when you served, you've built discipline, patience, awareness, consistency. Without that, you may get the opportunity, but you won't be able to handle it. Serving is what keeps you from collapsing under success. Because success without preparation, guess what? It turns into pressure you can't manage. Don't be that person. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Let's talk about the real test of serving. Here's the real test. Can you serve when it feels small? Can you serve when it feels repetitive? Can you serve when nobody sees it? That's where preparation happens. That's where your character is revealed. That's where your future is being built. Not in the spotlight, but in service. Because what you do when it doesn't matter to others is what would matter most when it counts for you. And let me be clear on something. I know a lot of us have been in certain situations. Let's use church, for example. I know a lot of us been at certain churches for a long time, and it didn't go the way we wanted to go. And we come into something new, and we say we gonna serve this way, not this way, not this way. But serving is knowing your God-given purpose, and serving is you're serving according to God. If God needs you here, let's say God needs you to help set up, needs you to take stuff off the truck. That's serving. That's helping prepare. Because if you're trying to lead something, you should know how the men set up. You should know how men pull off the truck. And I'm using this for example because, that's what our men do in one of our campuses. We got 2 campuses, but I'm just saying, don't take your frustration from somewhere else and bring it to your new place, and it prevents you from serving with excellence. Okay. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. This is Thrive Thursday, and we were talking about serving is preparation, not punishment. And if you miss any part of this show, again, you can go back and listen to it on Wave Radio minus the music. But let me leave you with this. Let's close this strong. You are not being punished. You are being prepared through serving. That responsibility you keep overlooking is building your capacity. That task you keep complaining about is building your discipline. That repetition you keep avoiding is building your consistency. And I'm going to use this again. I'm going to go back to this again. I've been here all day. Luke 16:10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. So here's the shift. Stop resisting serving and start recognizing it, because how you handle what feels small determines if you can sustain what is big. You're not stuck. You're in preparation. And if you embrace serving the right way, you won't just reach the next level. You'll be ready for it when it gets there. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown, and I thank you for joining me on this Thrive Thursday. I will see you tomorrow on Fearless Faith Friday. I am out of here. Peace.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.